this is Aromie here. Welcome back to our life. I was gonna say our days, it's our life, but we're here. Gonna go choose the grown-up game, or the event. One sweltering summer day, you're in your living room with Co, so listening to the sounds of birds chattering outside the window, while you lay across the rug on the floor. Co's dad had dropped him off early, and her moms had left the two of you along with Lizzie to play amongst yourselves. It had been too hot to go outside in the afternoon, at least according to Mommy, so your sister was starting to get impatient waiting for her golf class that evening. The three of you had trouble finding something fun to do. The beach and the playground were off limits, and you felt that it was too warm for anything like playing with your fuzzy toy animals. Then suddenly a light came to Lizzie's big brown eyes, and her smile spread wide across her face. Having an idea gave her a new wave of energy. Since we're stuck inside, we should be adults. They don't play outdoors anyway. Not wrong, as I said adult and playing games inside. But we're also in a pandemic, Lizzie, so come on, be a little bit more sensitive here. I mean, she doesn't know. They're always inside and telling everybody they're too busy to play.
Why?
Duh.
I said why, and it'll be fun. Duh. What do they do inside that we don't, besides use the phone a lot? Excluding a small help, Lizzie decides to ignore Code.
What do you think?
Do you want to? Co said it. That doesn't sound fun. I bet we could come up with something else. I don't know. I want to? I mean, sure, why not? Let's do it. You do? Yes, Co, I do. So, are we gonna play? Seriously? Yeah. Hooray! Okay, let me think. What do I want it to be? Satisfied that neither of you were about to bail on her, Lizzie thought her options while you watched. After a few seconds, she clapped her hands together and beamed, apparently having settled on something without asking either of you.
Okay.
I'm gonna be a professional golfer. Michiko, you and Cove can be a beach volleyball player, a gymnast, or a tennis player. Why can't we pick anything we want? Because I have a fun idea, that's why. And we have to play sports as adults. Yep. Joke's on you, Lizzie. I'm not athletic whatsoever. There's other kinds of sports too.
Right?
It isn't the same. What do you think, Michiko? Don't those choices sound super cool? You want to be that, huh? Maybe not. You nod it. Isn't there anything else we can be? Sounds like a blast. It really doesn't. I kind of like those. Is there anything else we can be? Lizzie stomped a foot on the ground. Nope. Come on, just decide already. Knowing Lizzie wouldn't let this go anytime soon, he sighed. Cove was not impressed with Lizzie's attitude, though he didn't bother talking more about it for now. He thought over the list of possibilities. Beach volleyball, gymnastics, or tennis. I think I would have to pick tennis, because that's closer to badminton. Out of all of them, you'd prefer to play tennis. You remembered Mommy had a couple of old tennis rackets lying around somewhere, but you forgot where you had last seen them. You could check the attic for them, although Lizzie probably wouldn't let you run off and do that now that she had you here. Yes, that was clearly the top option. I guess I'll be a tennis player.
All right.
How about you, Cove? I picked volleyball. I should have known. Okay, so Michiko, you're a famous tennis player, and Cove, you're on a popular beach volleyball team, and Lizzie's ponytail bobbed when she proudly stretched her arms wide. We're Olympic athletes who just competed in the Olympics. So sad because the Olympics were supposed to be this year, 2020, and didn't happen either. Cove didn't seem all that impressed with the announcement. He made a face and adjusted the glasses on his nose. It's really specific.
Rude.
Oh, that's what makes it fun anyway. This is the exact facial expressions I think these two always make to each other. Lizzie marched back and forth in front of us, getting lost in her own imagination. I won all gold medals, and people are calling me the next Mickey Ray. Who's that? Lizzie stopped on the spot and turned on him, her brown eyes shining with impatience. It doesn't matter if you know who she is, it's a golf thing. You guys won medals too. Cove, your team was bronze, and Michiko, you barely missed out on gold and got silver. It's more real life if we're not all first place. Alright, but why do you get to be first place? Why isn't it Cove? Silver sucks. I don't want silver. I'm okay with that. Hey, we can do better than silver. Silver's not bad. Nice. He stayed silent. We can do better than silver. You patted Lizzie and happy with the decision. Michiko's right.
Sorry.
Lots of people lose at the Olympics. Them's the breaks. Then you're the one who did, not me. Lizzie looked taken aback by Cove's declaration, as though the thought of her losing was completely absurd. No way, it wouldn't make sense. I'm already practicing my golf game. She took a golfing stance to make her point, pretending to swing her club and hit an invisible ball. So what kind of house do you want to live in? Cove hadn't changed his mind about winning, but thinking about where he'd live as an adult appealed to him, apparently, because he looked back at Lizzie with some of the anger fading. I'm going to live on the beach. Lizzie made a face at him, poking at her tongue. That's kind of boring, we already have that. No, not like the normal houses here with a street on it. right on the sand by the water. Just like that, all the tension was back. You hadn't even had a chance to choose where you want to live. It's not very fun or smart, Cove. You can't live on a bunch of sand and shells. But I want to, and I will. Cove narrowed his eyes at Lizzie, even though she stood half a head taller than him. We didn't give out a list of things to pick from this time, so I'm picking that. Why are we even playing pretend if we can't imagine anything?
Jeez.
Well, I'm gonna live in a mansion far away from here, far away from you. One with an indoor pool and a place to practice my award-winning golfing. I mean, I'm on board with an indoor pool, because that's goals.
It's not fair.
How come you were yelling at mine when your idea is even more impossible? Lizzie's face flushed red, her hands balling into fists at her sides. It's not impossible, and it's better than yours. Disagreement always seemed to crop up when the two of them were together, and you always felt like you were stuck in the middle. But when it came to the topic at hand, this time you thought. You prefer a mansion? Being on the beach was cooler? You wouldn't agree with Lizzie? Cove was right. You were tired deciding between either of them. I'm tired. You didn't engage with the bickering, instead dreamt up your own dream house. That's right, character. Think about your own dream house. And you weren't going to share your idea with them either. You already knew it was a good one. You can swim whenever you want if you live on the beach. We can still swim anytime we want from where we live now. Being a little closer doesn't mean anything. Says you. The two of them scouted each other. You're being so unreasonable. I don't get what you want. This game doesn't make sense.
Ugh.
It does. You had to be realistic. I said that. Why was she blushing though? Do you like Cove? Lizzie, do you like Cove? Are you trying to step? Huh? But you're not. You had no idea what to do to make them stop at this point. It seemed like the two of them could just keep working each other up so as long as they could. Nothing you said so far had kept them from being mad. Thankfully, like a greeting card angel, Mom walked into the room. Lizzie rushed to her, hanging onto the hem of her skirt and poking out her tongue at Cove. Lizzie, Michiko, it's time to get ready to
You
go.
alright with that?
Sorry you had to leave already, Cove. Their mommy said she'll walk you home so you won't be left in the cold. Cove was still glaring at Lizzie, his face flushed red with anger. I can go by myself, but without giving Mom a chance to stop him, Cove stood up and walked out of the room, shoulders drawn tight. Okay? Worried Mom turned to look down at you and Lizzie. You two were playing nice with a new friend, weren't you? Lizzie wasn't. You told the truth. They were fighting, Cove and Lizzie, for the whole time. Your sister... I'm that sibling. Your sister's jaw dropped, looking betrayed as Mom put both hands on her hips. I'm kidding. My brother and I, we would usually like stick up for with each other, but like Lizzie, she's stepping on Cove too much. So Elizabeth, I told you to be kind to him. He's having a hard time right now. Lizzie's mouth closed back up, replaced by a tiny frown. I know I tried, but he was...
That's enough.
No buts. We both know you can show someone a great time when you put your mind to it. We're going to apologize to Cove and his dad over the phone when he gets home from work tonight. Lizzie hung her head, dragging a foot across the ground in front of her. Okay, Mom. Good girl. You caught pieces of Lizzie sulking to herself about how it was his fault too, but it was over. Alright, we better get a move on.
Let's go.
Let's go, kids. No Lonnie, right? Where did you leave the car keys? Mom hustled. Damn, look at this leather. Mom hustled you all out the door and you noticed that during the car ride to golf practice, Lizzie was quieter than usual. She was usually the first one to request which music to listen to in the car, but she didn't say anything. Your parents noticed she wasn't in the mood to be bothered. They gave her space and Mommy just asked you what you'd like to listen to. They picked your favorite song and always made the car ride more fun. You chose the soundtrack to a cool movie you saw a couple months ago. You chose a song you knew Lizzie liked. Maybe that would cheer her up. Well, Lizzie always gets to request something, right? She'll be fine if we listen to BTS for one moment. Eventually, Lizzie came around and started singing along with you. You both knew all the words, and your moms even sang along too. When the car ride was over, you spent the twilight hour watching Lizzie hit things with other girls her age. Where did they come from? Did we all just drive far away to go to a golf course? Because, you know, they said that there were no kids in the local area, I guess. You didn't know much about golf, but you could tell that she really liked it, so you sat with your moms to try to puzzle it out. It was a nice sitting outside after being cooped up in the house all day, and you stretched out your legs to let the last few minutes of sun warm your skin. When the sun was finally out of sight, dipping behind the horizon, you all got ready to leave. Instead of going straight home, your mom took the family out to dinner. You went to a restaurant you had all been going to ever since you could remember. You know, just the thought of going out to a restaurant again seems so nice. I mean, you can right now, but you know, I'm trying to stay safe. The whole afternoon had been a bunch of shouting. You hadn't been able to stop, but you could kind of tell that all this helped Lizzie be less angry. The car ride home was quiet, with only the radio providing escape from silence. Lizzie had been in better spirits now, but the closer it got to her neighborhood, the more she wiggled in her seat and frowned out the window. She knew what was coming when you all got back home. Clearly, she was dreading it. Soon enough, Mom was turning onto your street, then reversing into the driveway. When she cut the ignition, it was dead silent. No one spoke, only unbuckled their seatbelts and opened their doors. Lizzie was the last one out. Once everyone was inside and done taking off their shoes, she propped her hands on her hips.
So,
Now then, Mr. Holden's car is in his driveway, so he should be back from work. That's good news, isn't it, Elizabeth? You and Cove can hash things out before the day is done. Lizzie didn't complain or put up a fight. Her head ducked so she didn't have to meet anyone's eyes. She nodded once. Good, let's move this to the kitchen. Mom went over to the house phone, the rest of you following behind her. Mommy puts a gentle hand on Lizzie's shoulder as they walked side by side. You watched them from the back. This was only happening because you told on Lizzie. You didn't regret it. You felt a little guilty like you had betrayed your sister. You hadn't liked doing it but had to. But it was her fault for doing it in the first place. You felt a little guilty like you had betrayed your sister. I mean, technically I did. I don't like doing it, but I had to, you know? Being a tattletale didn't feel good, and you wouldn't want someone else to tell your moms everything you did. Still, your mom had asked directly, and you wanted to be a liar even less. The four of you stood around the kitchen in a lopsided square. All eyes were on Lizzie, who kept her gaze on her feet. You remember the number of Co's house, don't you, honey? Lizzie jerked her head in another nod, sullen. Without further prompting, she stepped forward and she began to tile. Ooh! Mom reached over and pressed the button on the base. Suddenly, you could hear the phone ringing. She turned on the speaker. Yo, that's embarrassing! What? I thought she was just gonna be on the phone by herself with moms around there, and I would just be in my room. Like, I'm too nosy here. The phone rang a couple of times and stopped. Mr. Holden's warm voice came through the other end. Evening, Holden residence. Lizzie looked over at Mommy unsure. She nodded encouragingly. Hi, Mr. Holden. It's, Lizzie. Can I talk to Cove?
Absolutely.
Lizzie Melody. What a surprise! But of course you can say, hey, to the boy. He sounded cheery as usual, though definitely meant it when he said it was a surprise. You thought hard and you were sure that your sister had never called Cove's house before. Mom spoke up before Mr. Holden or Lizzie could say something anymore. Her arms were crossed over her chest, her lips pursed. Hi, Cliff. Nolani, Michiko, and I are here too. Good evening. We're sorry to bother you so late. He spoke up to say hello. What the heck? Hi. The gang's out here, huh? Is something the matter? His voice grew a bit concerned. Mommy's quick to reassure him. No, well, yes, but it's going to be okay. Lizzie and Cove got into a bit of a fight today. We're hoping that the two of them could talk and make up. Is this a good time for you and Cove?
What?
A fight? Verbally, not physically, but verbally. Mom, come on. Mommy! Cove didn't tell me anything about that when I came home. It does explain the funk he's been in tonight. He chuckled lightly. Despite that, it didn't seem like he really thought it was funny. Anyway, it's good you didn't catch us at a bad time. I'll go grab him for you. There was some shuffling on the other end. He must not have gone far because you could still hear him calling out. Cove, there's someone on the phone for you. After a beat of silence, there was more muffled talking from Cove's dad. Come on, bud. Lizzie called just so she could talk to you. It took a bit of back and forth, though. The conversation seemed one-sided since you couldn't hear Cove properly. Eventually, Cove took the phone from his dad.
Hi.
Hey, it's Lizzie. Yeah, I know, Dad told me. Cove's tone was defensive. Lizzie turned to Mom, scowling. One stern look from her, though, and Lizzie turned away.
Sorry.
I just called to say I'm sorry for not playing nice with you today. I won't do it again. Lizzie's eyes were downcast, her voice low. You could tell she felt uncomfortable apologizing to Cove in front of everyone. I would be too. Like, shit, I thought that she was just gonna do it by herself. She was still being genuine about feeling bad. Cove must have realized that too because he sighed quietly. I want gold. Lizzie was momentarily stunned, silent by the demand. You could understand why he did it. You had wanted gold too. Alright, you won the gold. Okay, I guess I'm sorry too. A sense of relief washed over everyone in his acceptance of the apology. Mom uncrossed her arms while Mommy's shoulder relaxed. Lizzie's eyebrows raised up. You wondered if she thought that he'd refuse her apology. Dad, can I get off the phone now? You couldn't see him, but it was obvious that Cove felt awkward about the situation. He had come off uncomfortable the entire time, really.
Yeah.
You can go back to your room if you want. Be sure to say goodbye first, though. Bye, Lizzie. Bye. What the? Cove just must have handed the phone to his dad and left since Mr. Holden spoke up.
That's a relief.
All's well that ends well, as they say. Thanks for arranging this. I'm sure he appreciates it. As Mom replied, Lizzie tugged on Mommy's hand to capture her attention. Can I go now, too?
Good job.
Sure, sweetie. Thank you very much for apologizing to Cove. Mom flashed a brief smile at Lizzie and nodded her agreement. Given permission to leave, Lizzie scurried off towards the stairs. She seemed to be feeling much better with the incident behind her. Mom and Mommy returned to the phone, taking it off the speaker. They continued talking to Mr. Holden. You couldn't tell what about. You were glad that was the end of it all. Lizzie and Cove might not get along, and probably still won't, but they weren't mad at each other anymore. Mom and Mommy weren't upset either. Everything was finally back to normal. With that thought, you retreated to your own room with a spring in your step. Alright. I was getting quite worried because I was like, oh shit, am I going to be over 15 minutes? But technically we are, but whatever. The next one is Long Day. I have no idea what that's about. I can't really remember what that was about, so I'm excited for these DLC ones though, especially the sleepover. But that is very the end, so. Anyway, thank you guys for watching today's episode. Stay beautiful, and I'll see you guys in the next one.